Welcome back, friends, and let's go to finish our discussion in biochemistry by discussing the ATP molecule, which is adenosine triphosphate. So ATP is the short form of adenosine triphosphate, and adenosine triphosphate, we may say that is the short-term energy store of the cell. It is easier transported and therefore the universal energy carrier. Sometimes ATP can be defined as the energy carrier of the cell. So this is the short explanation about ATP. ATP ni energy store au energy carrier. Ni temporary energy store au energy carrier. Kwa sababu ATP yenyewe haihifadhi energy bali ina carry. Tunatengeneza energy kwenye mitochondria, it is going to be used in the nerve cell. Au tunatengeneza energy kwenye mitochondria, it is going to be used in the absorption. So it is energy carrier. Kwenye structure for ATP, ATP is formed from nucleotide adenosine monophosphate. Na kama tulivyo discuss kule mwanzoni kwamba ATP yenyewe ni coenzyme. So it is formed from the nucleotide adenosine monophosphate by addition of two further phosphate molecules. Now adenosine monophosphate AMP is a nucleotide. A nucleotide is made of sugar, base and phosphate. So whenever you hear about nucleotide is made up of three things: a base, sugar and a phosphate. Now in adenosine monophosphate, the sugar is ribose. In adenosine monophosphate, the sugar is ribose, and the base is adenine. So ATP has two extra phosphate groups, making a total of 3. The structure of ATP is shown in the figure below. So as you can see, this is the generalized structure of ATP. These are 3 phosphates. We have the sugar ribose, and then we have the base, which is adenine. So this is called adenosine, and this is triphosphate. In the open form, this is ribose sugar, this is adenine base, and this is the first phosphate, second and third, or first, second, third. Or sometimes it can be drawn in this way. This is ribose, sugar, adenine is there, and then we have 3 phosphates. So this piece is called adenosine. Then adenosine monophosphate. If it has 2 phosphate, it is diphosphate, and if it has 3 phosphate, it is called adenosine triphosphate. Now, let's discuss a little about the significance of ATP in the cell. Why is it important? Now, the hydrolysis of ATP to ADP is catalyzed by the enzyme ATPase, and the removal of the terminal phosphate yield 30.6 kJ per mole. Kwa hiyo unavovunja ile bondi moja ya mwishoni ile kati ya phosphate na phosphate inatengeneza 30.6 kJ per mole of free energy. Further hydrolysis of ADP to AMP yield a similar quantity of energy. Manake bondi ya pili pia tukivunja inatoa energy ambayo ni 30.6 kJ per mole. But the removal of the last phosphate to give adenosine produces less than half this quantity of energy. Tunavyokuwa tuna remove ile phosphate ya mwisho, tuna produce energy ambayo ni less than half. Manake ni chini hata ya 15. For this reason, the first 2 phosphate bonds are often termed high energy bonds on account of the relatively large quantity of energy they yield on hydrolysis. Kwa zile bondi mbili zinaitwa high energy bonds kwa sababu gani? Zina release energy kubwa on hydrolysis. This is misleading in that it implies that all the energy is stored in these bonds. Kwamba baadhi ya watu wanajua kwamba energy yote inakuwa stored kwenye zile bonds. Sasa kwa nini nyingine zinakuwa ni high energy store, nyingine ni low energy store? No, the energy is in fact stored in the molecule as whole, although the breaking of the bond initiate its release. Kwa hiyo energy haiwi stored kwenye bondi moja, inakuwa stored kwenye molecule nzima, lakini the breaking of the bond ina stimulate au initiate release ya energy. AMP and ADP may be converted to ATP by addition of phosphate molecule in a process called phosphorylation, of which there are two main forms. Kwenye phosphorylation ambazo tunaweza convert AMP kwenda kwenye ATP kwa kuadi phosphate mbili, au ADP kwenda kwenye ATP kwa kuadi phosphate moja. We have two types. We have photosynthetic phosphorylation, which occur during photosynthesis in chlorophyll containing cells, and it's sometimes called as photophosphorylation, as we have already discussed in nutrition. And then you have oxidative phosphorylation, occur during cellular respiration in all aerobic cells. So ATP can be converted to ADP and inorganic phosphate. This reaction releases energy. So when you take ATP plus water, hydrolysis, ADP phosphate will release energy, which is 30.6 kilojoule per mole. Now the reaction requires water and is described as hydrolysis reaction. This is the common type of biochemical reaction and was encountered many times in biochemistry. Now, the third phosphate group is split from ATP, and this phosphate remains in the cell in organic form. So the reaction releases 30.6 kilojoule for every 1 mole of ATP that is hydrolyzed. ADP and phosphate can be converted back to ATP. The addition of each phosphate molecule requires 30.6 kilojoule of energy per mole of ATP. Kwa reverse reaction ya kuanzia kwenye ADP phosphate lazima tu tuna energy ambayo inatumika. Ndio maana tukienda kufuatia kwenye phosphorylation tunasema the energy inayotengenezwa kutoka kwenye transfer of electron ndio inayotumika huko. This reaction releases water and is known as condensation. If energy released from any reaction is less than 30.6 kilojoule, it cannot be stored as ATP and is lost as heat. Putting the two reactions together, utakuja kupata kitu kama hichi, kwamba the fourth reaction inakuwa hydrolysis of ATP to release ADP and organic phosphate. Backward reaction is condensation. The enzyme which catalyzes this reaction is known as ATPase. All cells require energy, as already explained, and all cells in every kind of organisms use ATP as their source of energy when performing their work. So ATP is therefore known as the universal energy carrier or energy currency of the cell. Think of all uses to which cell can put a battery, to which you can put a battery. Tunachozungumza hapa ni kwamba kwa mfano ni vile ambavyo unaweza kuitumia battery. Battery unaweza kuweka kwenye torch, kwenye kurunzi, ukaweka kwenye calculator, kwenye. So as useful analogy in the battery, manake think of all uses which you can put a battery. How could you get light energy, mechanical energy, sound energy, electrical energy from it? Kwa battery unaweza kupata light energy kama kwenye torch, ukapata mechanical energy kama kwenye motor, ukapata sound energy kama kwenye kengele, ukapata electrical energy. Kwa unagundua kwamba battery unaitumia kwa ajili ya kutumia kama source ya aina mbalimbali za energy. The convenience of a battery that the same source of energy, the battery, can be used in a wide range of ways to perform work. It is merely plugged in to the right piece of apparatus. Kwa unaiweka tu kwenye kifaa fulani, ukiweka kwenye hicho kifaa inafanya kazi mbalimbali. Betri hiyo ukiweka kwenye remote inafanya kazi, ukiweka kwenye torch inafanya kazi. So ATP does the same in cell. It can be used to make muscles contraction, to make nerves function, to drive active transport and synthesis protein, and is used in all other works of the cell has to do by being plugged into the correct piece of the machinery. So the analogy can be extended further because batteries have to be made in the first place, and some, like ATP, are rechangeable. Kwa hiyo are rechargeable, yani baadhi ya betri ukizitumia hauwezi ukachaji tena, lakini ATP ni rechargeable, yani inatumika ni kama vile rechargeable batteries, inatumika unaichaji tena kwa energy. So when batteries are made in a factory, energy has to be used in their manufacture. Likewise, ATP is made using energy, in this case from the oxidation of organic molecules. During respiration, under the process known as oxidative phosphorylation, since the energy to add phosphate to ADP comes from oxidation. Kwa unagundua kwamba pia ili kutengeneza hapa lazima utumie energy. In the manufacture of ATP, the equivalent of factory is mitochondria, a specialized site where the chemical assembly lines for efficiently producing most of the ATP in the aerobic respiration are located. So from there, finally, there is recharging of the battery once its energy has been used. So once ATP has been converted to ADP and inorganic phosphate and released this energy, the ADP and inorganic phosphate can be readily be converted back to ATP by re-entering the process of respiration and receiving more energy from oxidation. So the actual amount of ATP in the cell at any one time is surprisingly small, but ATP should therefore be thought of not as store of energy but as a carrier of energy. Kwa sababu gani? Hazikusanyiki zikawa nyingi. Zingekusanyika zikawa nyingi tungeita ni store, lakini kwa sababu zinakuwa produced na zinatumika muda huu, they are carrier. Long-term storage of energy takes place in a molecule like fats and glycogen. The cell is very sensitive to the amount of ATP present. So as soon as the rate at which it is being used goes up, the rate of respiration goes up as well to keep up the supply. Kwa ATP zinavyozidi kutumika, cell inatoa taarifa tu kwa mitochondria kwamba ATP zimeshatumika nyingi, kwa hiyo sasa unachotakiwa kufanya ni kuongeza rate of respiration. The importance of ATP is therefore as a means of transferring free energy from energy rich compounds to cellular reaction requiring energy. While not the only substance to transfer energy is in this way, it is by far the most abundant and hence the most important. Kwa hiyo hivi hapo unaweza kuviona kwenye kitabu cha Understanding Biology page namba 317. And from there tumalizie na uses of ATP. First, a metabolically active cell may require up to 2 million ATP molecule every second. 2 million ATP molecule every second. ATP is the source of energy for. First is the anabolic process. Anabolic process require ATP. Anabolic process, they are the process which are synthetic one, as we discussed earlier in the period of enzymes. Anabolic process, they are synthetic reaction. Pia inatumika kwenye movement. ATP is used in movement. It provides the energy for many forms of cellular movement including muscle contraction, serial reaction, spindle action in cell division. Lakini pia inatumika kwenye active transport, provide energy necessary to move materials against the concentration gradient. Kwa mfano ni ions pump, sodium potassium pump. Sodium potassium pump. Lakini pia kuna secretion. It is needed to form the vesicles necessary in the secretion of the cell membrane. Lakini ya tano kuna activation of chemicals. Activation of chemicals. Kwa mfano kabla hatujaanza kuitumia glucose kwenye glycolysis lazima tuifanyie activation. Kwa unafanya activation na unatumia ATP. Thank you everybody. This is the end of biochemistry. And after this, we will finish our nutrition and we shall start another topic in biology. Also, chemistry topics and physics, advanced mathematics and BAM periods, they are continuing in this channel. Thank you everybody. Let me wish you nice studies. Don't forget to subscribe and to share the video to your fellows. Thank you.